Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us is Joe Payne, who's the president and CEO of Arcturus Therapeutics. We're going to take a look at its partnership with Duke-NUS to develop a COVID-19 vaccination. Joe, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks. Tell us a bit about Arcturus.
Hey, Jill, it's good to be with you. Thanks for the time. Arcturus is a clinical stage messenger RNA medicines and vaccines company with just a great suite of technologies that enables us to be well positioned for the developing a COVID-19 vaccine. And as you mentioned in your preamble, we are partnered, or we're developing this vaccine with the Duke-NUS Medical School in Singapore. This is a combination of the Duke Medical School in the United States and the National University of Singapore in Singapore. They joined forces and created a third entity called the Duke-NUS Medical School in Singapore. They're they're very experienced and experts in coronaviruses, as you can understand. This is not their first rodeo in epidemics or pandemics. They've dealt with MERS and SARS and now COVID-19, so we're fortunate to be working with them. Our vaccine is a messenger RNA vaccine, and it's uniquely different from the other messenger RNA vaccines out there in that our payload is a self-replicating messenger RNA, which means our dose is extraordinarily low. So just a few days ago or last week, we disclosed seroconversion data in animals with this vaccine. This is very important, and it's a big deal because we were one of the first companies in the world to share this type of data. We showed that in animals that when you inject our vaccine, that it not only creates antibodies, but it creates the right antibodies, the neutralizing antibodies for the COVID-19 virus at extraordinarily low doses. We saw 100% seroconversion at 2 micrograms. And the reason why that number is very important is one kilogram of our technology would be that would be equivalent to 500 million doses at 2 micrograms. And 1 kilogram is like you putting 2 of your fists together. So it's not a huge amount of material. You can wrap your mind around it. And because it works at such an extraordinarily low dose, it's an exciting COVID-19 vaccine. And we look forward to our clinical trial this summer.
And Joe, can you tell us about the Lunar delivery technology? The COVID-19 vaccination that you're working on is really predicated on Lunar, correct?
Yeah. In order to get this self-replicating mRNA to where it needs to be, we combined it with our world-leading delivery technology called Lunar, L-U-N-A-R. This is a lipid-mediated nanoparticle delivery technology, and its job is to protect and safely deliver and effectively deliver the messenger RNA payload to where it needs to be. Once that Lunar technology enters cells, it releases the messenger RNA into the cell, and then the cell's machinery takes over. It prints off a bunch of the S antigen, or the full-length spike protein, and that invokes a desired immune response. And we've seen this in animals, and we sure hope that we can replicate it in humans, and if we can, it'll be a big deal.
It certainly will be. So, Joe, realistically, when do you think a vaccination like this can potentially come to market?
That's a great question, and everybody asks that. And the next steps for this program for our vaccine is to get it manufactured in a cGMP environment. We've told the markets that we plan to ship the material in June, and then we also plan to initiate a human dosing in the summer in 76 human volunteers or subjects, including the elderly, so that we can evaluate our technology in multiple different types of folks.
And Joe, to wrap up here, have we learned anything from the COVID-19 virus? Will this help us with future pandemics and being able to respond more proactively versus reactively?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first item on the table is to make sure that we address the COVID-19 pandemic. But after that, I think the world has clearly learned its lesson that it needs to stockpile multiple vaccines to prepare against any other potential pathogen or virus, so that we don't get caught off guard and that we can quickly address any future outbreaks. And our technology is ideally suited to
All right, Jill. Thanks to everything you're doing with Arcturus to help keep us healthy.
Yes, thank you for the time, and we look forward to getting some data in humans this summer.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.